I love to play drum solos. Drum solos are a blast. But I want to fill all of you in on a really important, really well-kept secret. Drum solos aren't the most important thing about playing drums. The most important thing about playing drums is playing a groove and getting a gig with a band. Wow! If you can play a beat and make that beat swing and really groove and sound great and make other musicians feel good, guess what? They're going to call you back. They're going to say, hey man, get Johnny Bag of Donuts because he sounds really, it feels good to play with Johnny. They don't say, hey, hire Johnny Bag of Donuts because he plays a great drum solo. People don't care about drum solos. They care about drum solos in drum clinics and drum videos, and I care about drum solos, but the average guy on the street doesn't care about your drum solo. He wants to have you rock him or jazz him or Latin music him or just make them tap their feet, bob their heads, snap their fingers, make them feel good with music. My favorite kind of music to play in the whole ding-dang wide world is rock, pop rock. If I had to pick a favorite band right now that's, you know, on the radio that I just love, it would be the Foo Fighters, because I think that they're not only a great rock band, but I think they have great songs. I think Dave Grohl is one of the most underrated drummers of this century, and on top of that, he's an incredibly great singer and incredibly great songwriter and a really good rhythm guitar player. Taylor Hawkins is a great drummer, just the whole band. Even when you watch a DVD of a band and they sound incredible, like I go to a lot of concerts where I live in Los Angeles and I hear a lot of bands and most of them play the tunes way too fast. You go, what song is that? Now that ain't that song, I can't tell you. Oh what? He is singing those words. Play the song at the record tempo if you're playing in a cover band, or if your own band gets a record deal, play the songs in the tempo that the audience wants to hear the songs. But I love to play jazz, I love to play Latin music, double bass, brushes, big band, small group, all kinds of different stuff. But nothing is as much fun as playing in a band with a singer with lyrics, and that's how I grew up. I grew up listening to the Beatles and the Stones and Led Zeppelin and the Police and the Eagles and, you know, all the bands that came before and after. And I just love great pop music. I think you'll be a better jazz drummer if you listen to rock. I think you'll be a better rock drummer if you listen to jazz. I think you'll be a better funk R&B drummer if you listen to Latin Afro-Cuban music. And I think you'll be a better Latin Afro-Cuban candombe Brazilian samba guru if you listen to David Garibaldi or Clyde Stubblefield play funk, because it all relates. I have a lot of friends of mine that are really narrow-minded, and they say, well, I'm just going to be this kind of drummer. Well, great. What happens when that kind of drumming isn't popular anymore? Or what happens when that kind of drumming doesn't pay the bills? By the grace of God, ever since I was 15, all I've ever done is play drums. And I can't believe it. I have a wonderful wife and a 5-year-old boy and a 3-year-old girl, and all I do is play drums. It's a drag to leave town. I'm doing a little James Taylor tour at the end of this month and did these 2 weeks of clinics. But 2 weeks is nothing compared to the last time I went out for 40 days. It was like Noah on the ark. Yesterday, my son was in the bathroom and he said, Dad, who are you working for this week? I said, well, I'm working for Mapex Drums and Zildjian Cymbals. He says, you can work with them a lot because they only make you go away for 12 days. That 40-day stuff's got to stop. Woo, it's tough. But, you know, you got to store up the nuts for the long, cold winter, as they say up here in the... I'm from Michigan, so I'm a Yankee, too. I can make Yankee jokes. Anyway, what was I going to say? So styles all relate. And a lot of friends of mine, you know, I used to teach drum lessons at a music store where kids would come in and they'd say, like in 1982, when Missing Persons was at their peak and Terry Bozzio was every drummer's, as he still is, every drummer's, you know, one of their favorites, you know, and I'd say, okay, man, for next week, I want you to learn this Missing Persons tune. It's got double bass, and before Terry even had the electronic kit, and this kid would go, oh, real LA surf, you know, burnout dude would go, oh, dude, like, I don't want to like rip off like Terry Bozzio, because dude, I'll like sound just like Terry Bozzio, and I want to sound like Skippy Scuppleton, me, you know, and like, dude, that's bogus, you know, I don't want to be ripping off. I said, dude, You can practice all you want, and I can practice all I want, and we're never going to sound like Terry Bozzio. He's Terry Bozzio. Like Vinnie Colaiuta is. Where did he go? Vinnie Colaiuta. Or like Luis Conte. We're doing the James Taylor gig together. Luis, ¿qué pasó? He's the one who taught me how to say, La Zona Blanca. He says, Gregorio, you want to learn something funny? Go up to this guy and say, La Zona Blanca es para desembarcamiento, embarcamiento de pasajeros solamente, no hay parqueo. And I did. And it was at a music festival, and he said, Gregorio, you are crazy. The white zone is for loading and unloading of passengers only. No parking, please. Luis, you are the man. Anyway, learn as much as you can from all the different drummers that you can learn from, because you're never going to sound, none of us are ever going to sound like them. What we are going to sound like, hopefully, is the sum of our parts. If this guy listens to Stuart Copeland, Elvin Jones, Tony Williams, and Steve Gadd, combined with his own soul and heartbeat and personality, he's going to sound a lot different than the guy over here that listens to Neil Peart, Rod Morgenstein,
Eric Singer,
and Jack DeJohnette. Thank you very much. Eric Singer rocks.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's all about being a sum of your parts and listening as much as you can and growing. And what I want to say about this whole thing is that drum solos are fun to play, but they're not the most important thing. One of the drummers, and I know I did this last time I was here, but by special request from Brent King, I'm going to do this a little shortened version of this tribute I did last time. I had a dream come true in March of last year, a year ago. I got the phone call. Last time I was here, I was talking about Ringo Starr and how much I love Ringo Starr and how much he's a really underrated drummer, and how a lot of drummers, including Jim Chapin, say, Bissonette, you don't know what you're talking about. Ringo Starr, he ain't got no chops. I said, yeah, he's got chops. Listen to Ticket to Ride. She's got a ticket to ride. 2 hands, double stops. All these fills. He's got all kinds of chops, but he doesn't use them all the time. He uses them really musically and melodically, and he plays for the song. And you can tell what Beatles song it is just by playing the drum beat alone, and I'll show you that in a second. But when I finally convinced Jim Chapin that he had chops, he said, all right, he's a good drummer, you know. But Jim Chapin, how many of you, who doesn't know who Jim Chapin is? Raise your hand. Don't be embarrassed. Okay, good. Jim Chapin's about 85 or so. He's from New York. He's very, very New York, you know, and he wrote the book called, Jim Chapin's book is blue, and it's called, I want you all to point your finger at your nose. Everybody, do this. Point your finger right at your nose and go like this. Because you all have to know the Jim Chapin book. It's called Advanced Techniques for the Modern Drummer. And I'll bet you they got it on sale at Drums and More. Right, Rand? Yeah. You better believe they do. Anyway, Jim Chapin is great and he's wonderful, but he didn't really think Ringo was great, and I'll talk about all that stuff in a minute. But anyway, the moral of the story is that you got to play for the song and come up with parts. In whatever band you're in, one of the hardest things to do is come up with a part for a song that works for the song. Anyway, I'm a Beatle fanatic, and lo and behold, last year I get this call from a producer that I work with all the time. He produces Aerosmith, the Dixie Chicks, Ringo, and a bunch of other people. Ozzy, we were working on a new Ozzy album, believe it or not. It's Ozzy Beatle-y kind of Lennon-y stuff. It's pretty wild. But anyway, he says, hey, you want to do a month-long tour with Ringo? Freaked out. And do you think your brother could play bass? My brother's my favorite bass player. We're 2 years apart. We've played in everybody from Maynard to David Lee Roth to Satriani, the Mustard Seeds, all these bands together. I said, my brother played bass with me, with Ringo? So anyway, he came into LA. We rehearsed for a week. He was the coolest guy in the world. My brother went to give him a handshake. Hey, Ringo. He says, I only give hugs. Gives him his big hug. He says, call me Richie. My name's not really Ringo, you know. Me kids don't call me Ringo. My wife, Barbara Bach, you know, she was a Bond girl, James Bond girl. She doesn't call me Ringo. She calls me Richie. My name's Richard Starkey. You can call me Richie. Richie. Anyway, the managers are all saying, now whatever you do, don't ask him any Beatles stories. You know, he's a Beatle. It's hard for him to go anywhere. He gets really burnt out. Don't ask him Beatles stories. So as soon as everybody leaves the room and it's just the 5 musicians hanging out, he goes, hey, I hear you do a good me. You're my hero drummer, Ringo. You know, I saw you in Detroit at Olympia Hockey Arena where I saw Gordie Howe the week before, and you know, my brother was 5 and I was 7, and you're my hero. I wouldn't be playing drums if it wasn't for you and Buddy Rich. And I wanted to be in a band playing drums, you know. He says, Go ahead, ask me some Beatle questions. So I asked him a story. I said, well, you know the book Beatle Gear? He says, oh yes, Beatle Gear. Who has heard of the book Beatle Gear? Only 5 of it? There's a book called Beatle Gear that tells about every song, what kit he used, what cymbal he used, what stick, how many times he blew his nose, all the Beatles, everything about it. And he says, oh yes, Beatle Gear, very good book. It just came out. In fact, Barbara got it for me for Christmas. I said, well, it says in there that you drove down with Brian Epstein, the manager of the Beatles, to Liverpool, and you went to Ivor Arviter's Drum City, which I don't think is there anymore because there's another store in London now. I forget the name of the store, but it'll come to me. But anyway, they're not there. But he says, yes, Ivor Arviter. He says, well, it says in the book that there was a Black Oyster Pearl kit there, and there was a Premier kit, and he said, I could get you this Black Oyster Pearl kit, but I'll get it in Premier because I know you like Premier England drums. And he says, English drums. He says, no, Ludwig drums of Chicago, Illinois. He goes, I like Buddy Holly, everything American. Get me the Ludwig drums. He says, wow. And he says, Ivor was the rep for Ludwig drums, so he happened to have this drum head, and he says, I'll tell you what, I'll give you 40 off, kid, and I'll put the name of your band on the drum head. What's the name of your band? He says, the manager, Brian Epstein says, it's called the Beatles. It's not B-E-E-T-L-E-S. It's like a beat, B-E-A-T. And Ivor goes, that name will never fly. So I'll put Ludwig and I'll put Beatles on your drum head, and they'll come back tomorrow. So he comes back the next day, and Ludwig's like this, and Beatles is like this. And Brian says, no. If the name of the drums is going to be that big, make Beatles this big, and while you're at it, put a drop T on the logo. And that became the drum head, the Beatles, the logo, So he was filled with stories. My brother asked him, well, we saw you in Detroit at Olympia Hockey Arena. We couldn't hear anything, and they even had to stop the show for a minute because you got hit in the back of the head by a girl's back of her high-heeled shoe, and how did you know what was playing? And he says, oh, I just stared at Paul's butt. She loves you. And then he told me a million Beatles stories. Anyway, I'm going to play a short little Beatle tribute right now, and this is telling you, in my own way, how important Ringo's grooves really are to the drums and to the Beatles, because it's the beat that you play. The U.S. Senate a few years back, our wonderful Senate, that said, bass parts are copyrightable. Boom, 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 boom. Lawsuit. Lyrics are copyrightable, but drum beats, nah, they're not copyrightable. Anybody that wanted to tomorrow could do a solo album and start every song off with this groove. Who was that drummer?
Gene Krupa.
Good, Gene Krupa. What was the song?
Sing, sing, sing.
Who was it written by? Nobody ever gets this right. Who said that? You're absolutely right. Who goes back there? My eyes are bad. Somebody behind the counter.